Selene's breath caught, but she didn't move away. Elias's touch was barely there, just a whisper of his fingers along her jaw, his lips so close she could feel the heat of them. She was used to being in control, to making men chase, to setting the pace. But Elias Vance? He was something else entirely. "You're playing a dangerous game," he murmured, his thumb tracing the curve of her lower lip. She let out a soft breath, her lips parting just slightly. "And if I like danger?" His eyes darkened. For a moment, she thought he would finally cross the line, close the space between them, but instead, he pulled back. His smirk was pure, calculated control. "Then you'll have to be patient." Selene clenched her fists at her sides, heat pulsing under her skin. "He's toying with me." The realization sent a thrill down her spine. Most men fell at her feet. But Elias? He was testing her. She smiled, masking her frustration. "You're good at this." He tilted his head. "At what?" "Keeping me wanting more." Elias chuckled, low and knowing. "That's the point, sweetheart." Then, just like that, he stepped back, picking up his drink and walking toward the window, as if nothing had happened. Selene exhaled, forcing herself to regain her composure. "All right, Mr. Vance, if this is a game, I'll play it better than you." The arrangement continued. More events, more whispers, more stolen touches that never quite went far enough. Elias would guide her through a crowded room with his hand on the small of her back, his fingers pressing just a little too firmly. He would lean close, speaking just above a whisper, his breath brushing against her skin. But he never kissed her, never let it go beyond the edge of temptation. Selene knew this was a test of control. Who would break first? One night, at a private dinner party, Elias ran his fingers along the inside of her wrist while speaking to another guest. His touch was slow, deliberate, unfair. Selene smiled sweetly at the woman across the table, but her voice was lower when she leaned in and whispered to Elias, "If you keep touching me like this, someone might think you actually want me." Elias didn't look at her. He just smirked, taking a slow sip of his wine. "Let them think what they want." Selene's nails dug into her palm. This man is impossible. The night it finally happened, neither of them saw it coming. They had just returned from an event. The tension had been unbearable all evening. Back at the penthouse, Selene kicked off her heels, pretending to be unbothered. "Another night of pretending," she mused, walking toward the bar. "How long do you think we can keep this up before someone figures out the truth?" Elias loosened his tie, watching her. "What truth?" She turned, meeting his gaze. "That it's not just an act anymore." The words hung between them, heavy and dangerous. Elias stepped forward. "Is that what you think?" Selene held her ground, refusing to back down. "I think you want me, but you're too stubborn to admit it." A slow, dark chuckle rumbled from his chest. "And what if you're wrong?" She walked toward him, closing the space between them. "Then prove it." His jaw clenched. His control, so perfect until now, was cracking. "Then," he snapped. In one swift motion, Elias grabbed her wrist and spun her against the wall. His body pressed against hers, his breath hot against her neck. "Do you really want me to prove it?" he murmured, his lips just above her skin. Selene's pulse thundered. She should have been the one in control. But Elias had flipped everything in an instant. Her voice was barely a whisper. Yes, that was all he needed. Elias crashed his lips against hers, finally breaking the tension that had been burning between them for weeks. His hands gripped her waist, pulling her tight against him, while hers tangled in his hair, desperate, hungry. There was no hesitation, no second guessing, just pure, raw desire. The contract was forgotten. The rules no longer mattered. They had both lost the game, and neither of them cared.